President Maithripala Sirisena emphasizes on the efforts undertaken by Sri Lanka to transform emerging Asia into the world's financial hub. Residents of Badulla forced to wear face masks as smoke engulfs the city. Deaths caused by sand mining pits in Negombo sparks protest. Japan grants a 46 billion rupee loan to Sri Lanka. One person killed in a railway crossing accident.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to Primetime News. Coming live and direct from the News1st studios here in Colombo. I'm Bernadine Jai Singha.
A very good evening. I'm Zola Outskun. Let's start off with a look at our top story for this evening.
Addressing the Asia Cooperation Dialogue Summit in Thailand today, President Maithripala Sirisena emphasized on the efforts undertaken by the government of Sri Lanka to transform emerging Asia into the world's financial hub.
The inauguration ceremony of the summit commenced under the auspices of the Thailand Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha with the participation of state leaders from 34 member countries. President Maithripala Sirisena, who participated as special guest, addressed the summit today. During his address, the President called for greater cooperation to improve the economies of all countries in the region and also called for exchange of knowledge in order to boost the science and technology sector. According to the President's media unit, the President had said that Sri Lanka aspires to become a high-income nation, adding that several key programs have been launched to bolster economic development.
President Maithripala Sirisena also met with his Iranian counterpart today on the sidelines of the Asia Cooperation Dialogue Summit. During the meeting, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani pledged to provide continuous support to Sri Lanka. President Sirisena, meanwhile, had emphasized on the need to act in coordination on matters concerning international issues.
Welcome back to the news. On to a story that made it to the headlines this evening. Day-to-day life came to a standstill in Badulla today as the area was engulfed in noxious gases and smoke. Residents had to don face masks to protect themselves from the gases. While cool mists are a regular occurrence in the Badulla town, today the area was covered in smoke due to a fire which broke out at a waste recycling centre last afternoon. The landfill, which has accumulated waste for over 30 years, has been a cause for concern for residents in surrounding areas due to the menace of flies and mosquitoes and the risk of skin disease. Today's smoke emanating from the area posed a far more present danger to residents.
Someone has set fire to this garbage disposal site. I have been trying to douse the fire since last evening with the help of the fire extinguishing team. But it is difficult to douse the fire because of methane component in it. As a municipal council, we regret that people in this area have to go through a situation like this.
The municipal commissioner announced the public should cover their mouths and noses to protect themselves from toxic gases that could emanate from the scene of the fire.
Our children cannot breathe. We are facing severe difficulties.
All the plastic and polythene is burning. They brought in a water bowser last evening, but since then, no steps have been taken. School children are receiving treatment from the OPD. I too feel unwell. It is hard to breathe. A fire has erupted in this huge mound of garbage. The teachers called the parents and wanted us to pick our children from schools because this smoke is toxic.
While the waste recycling centre was established under the Badulla Waste Management Project initiated by the previous government, leftover waste was transported to the Kohila Kandura area in Alugolla. However, this was stopped due to strong protest from the residents of Kohila Kandura. As such, following the separation of recyclables, the remaining waste was dumped within the premises itself, creating a mountain of waste in Badulla, second only to the one in Kolonawa. Waste accumulated at this location adjacent to the main sports ground, botanical garden, walking paths and a school for 2 years. The problem was also highlighted previously on Newsfirst bulletins. As a result of negligence and inaction, either on the part of the municipal commissioner or other authorities, today the residents of Badulla and visitors to the area were forced to undergo the unpleasant experience of inhaling methane.
Protests were launched against the failure of sand miners to fill up the pits dug by them. These pits have already claimed the lives of a number of individuals.
Area residents of Katana, Udangava, Topua, Muratana, Jambugaswatta and Halape areas joined the protest. On the 30th of this month, 2 children from Kuchikade Nigambo fell into these unguarded pits and lost their lives. The area residents called on authorities to take steps to fill up these pits, which have now transformed into death traps. Once filled with water, these pits lull residents into a false sense of security. The protests, which were launched blocking the Kuchikade Maha-Oya bridge along the Chilao-Nigambo main road, disrupted the flow of traffic.
When contacted, the Acting Director General of the Geographic Survey and Mines Bureau, Sajana De Silva, said that legal action will be taken against individual who engages in mining in the area, as no permits have been issued to carry out such activities.
An opinion has arisen among civil society that the government, which claims that it does not have enough funds to spend on public services, should investigate acts of corruption and fraud in the recent past and recover such funds. Land and House in Brownsville in Eliakhanda, Madawat in Mathura, accused former Minister Basil Rajapaksa, estimated value close to 60 million rupees, area 1.5 acres. 400,000 people affected by drought. Flood victims in Colombo yet to be paid compensation. Compensation delayed for people affected by Salab explosions. Civil society actors pointed out today as well that the funds and property said to have been stolen by former politicians and their cronies should be seized and spent on urgent public needs. At the general election, the government promised the people that they would build a prosperous society. They promised to punish the fraudsters and the corrupt, and that they would seize their funds and property. So why is the government not expediting investigations into the individuals who stole from the people and pocketed taxpayers' money? Why is it not being seized by the state? There is an incident in Mount Lavinia involving a woman. The sons of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa are involved in this. Grandma Daisy says she received a bag of gemstones and used that to buy the land. It is clear that the people's money has been stolen continuously. Expedite the investigations into corruption, fraud and other grievances. These investigations cannot be conducted properly through this judicial system. So a separate court must be named and these cases should be fast-tracked through this special court system. Then the properties must be seized and funds can then be used by the government to provide relief to the people. Speaking at a media briefing convened today, several political party representatives accused the government of failing to conduct honest inquiries into factors which led to the economic crisis. When the current government came into power, the debt burden was about 70% of the GDP. In the past year alone, this has increased to 75%. One of the main reasons for this situation is the actions of the former governor of the central bank. Debt has been accumulated by the company owned by his son-in-law. This company has made a massive profit of 5.2 billion rupees. If this government feels any responsibility towards the country, they have a duty. The FCID, which investigates financial matters, has a duty to investigate this and take action. I have lodged a complaint with the Inspector General of Police that Arjuna Mahendran committed major fraud at the behest of the Prime Minister. This is the income of the country, and I asked for this to be debated in Parliament. When I asked, they said it has been submitted to the police and that there has been no answer from the Attorney General. There are enough incriminating factors here to arrest both Arjuna Mahendran and Ranil Wickremesinghe. The COPE report will be unveiled in the coming days. As far as I am aware, the previous COPE report contained evidence that Arjuna Mahendran had done this at Ranil's behest. The COPE report on the bond incident is due and the Auditor General has also acted on this. The company involved in the bond incident has declared its profits. It is an abnormal situation and as such I believe that the law must be enforced directly. An investigation is being conducted into the bond incident above the level of the FCID through the COPE committee in Parliament. If the government does not act on this, then the FCID must go after it. There is clearly a money laundering investigation here. The Auditor General Central was able to investigate this and provide answers within a short time frame. It usually takes 2 to 3 years for such things. The government is bound to implement this directly. It is the responsibility of the government and it will act accordingly.
Meanwhile, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka issuing a media release says that they have requested authorities to launch an investigation into the unauthorized release of a report related to the examination of perpetual treasuries conducted by the central bank. The release notes that the report had not been completed and that the final report has not been submitted to the Monetary Board for its consideration. The central bank also notes that prior to the document being leaked, the Monetary Board decided to hold a special meeting to consider issues related to the resolution of distressed non-bank financial institutions as well as the operations of primary dealers, including the concerns regarding perpetual treasuries. The release further notes that this meeting will be held shortly.
As severe drought continues to impact much of rural Sri Lanka, the people of Devinuwara Matara have woken to a rude shock. People in many villages which do not even have a drop of water have received massive water bills. News First visited the area. We have received a massive bill, but it is not because we have received water. Whenever we open the taps, the only thing that comes out is air. So as the air is released, the meter spins rapidly. So other people in the village and I have received massive water bills because the meter is running on air. Several homes have received red notices and the water supply has been cut.
People in the villages of Kalupahana, Pathihena and Mahena are facing this situation. We have not had water since Friday. We cannot wash ourselves. We cannot use the toilet. Our children cannot wash their faces. We are facing many hardships, but there is no one to look into it. At present, residents are spending their days on the street looking out for water bowsers.
We have to travel to the offices 3 or 4 times a day to get down a bowser. Even then we only get 2 barrels of water, which don't even last a week. We bought water because of the children. If we want to wash up, we have to go to the well and fight with the others. So whenever we go there with the children to bathe, we have to waste hours waiting for our turn.
While most of the Polonnaru district is wilting away in the drought, we received a report of a village where water is being released from the reservoirs.
While much of the water sources in Polonnaru have dried up, denying many people of even a drop of water to drink, the people of Samagipura in Mineria are preparing to cultivate for the Yala season. This is possible because of a far-sighted decision that was made 10 years ago. The villagers of Samagipura requested President Maithripala Sirisena, who was a Mahaveli minister at the time, to divert water released from the Mineria Purification Centre to the reservoir in their village. The subsequent decision to release water to the local reservoir had enabled these people to cultivate 35 acres of paddy fields in both the Yala and Maha seasons.
The water that is removed every day falls back into the tank. We worked hard for it. Funds were allocated for this project by current President Maithripala Sirisena during his tenure as the Minister of Education. We are thankful for his effort. We have enough water to plant trees and cultivate. We have enough of water. We haven't felt the effects of drought facing the rest of the country.
The Gum at the 100-Day Initiative, which aspires to uplift the livelihoods of the general public who face numerous difficulties, was able to commence 2 more projects for the welfare of the public today.
The Gum at the 100-Day Initiative. With the people, for the people.
How can we ply our trade if we are not sure whether we can reach the shore safely? Many people lost their lives in the darkness of the sea, not knowing where land is. Not only the development of the country, Sirasa Gammatha has intervened to create unity among ethnicities. The fishermen of Kaluwankani Batiklo have been battling the darkness of seas for many years as they do not have a beacon to guide them back home. Today, the Gammatha 100 Days initiative was able to provide these fishermen with something countless officials failed to provide, a guiding light. Johan Tenekon of Central Bearing and Machinery Private Limited joined hands with the Newsfirst Gammatha initiative to turn this project into a reality. The Gammatha 100 Days initiative also launched a project today to provide clean drinking water to the residents of Ediman in Kenya. The National Lotteries Board is the benefactor of the project.
The Gammatha 100-Day Initiative. With the people, for the people.
On to some tragic news this evening. A person was killed when a three-wheeler collided with a train at a railway crossing in the Maruluava area in Kurunegala. The railgate operator had not been present to man the gate at the time of the accident. The incident occurred at around 2 this afternoon when the three-wheeler collided with an express train plying from Colombo to Kankasanturai. 2 children who were returning home from school in the three-wheeler were injured in the accident. The victim who died in the accident is a 34-year-old male from the Thoraya area in Kurunegala. According to a correspondent, although a railway guard room and a railgate is in place at the level crossing, the railgate had not functioned at the time of the accident.
Security is a must at a railway crossing because this is an entrance point to several villages here. We request the relevant authorities to provide a steadfast solution to this issue.
A Samarudi officer was also killed in a motorcycle accident at the same location on the 22nd of March.
Director General of the Government Information Department, Dr. Ranga Kalansure, issuing a media release, has emphasized the urgent need for a system of independent regulations for broadcast media.
Dr. Ranga Kalansure pointed out the need for regulations after taking into consideration a news report containing footage of a youth committing suicide that was aired on several private media channels. The press release issued by Dr. Kalansure states that airing such extremely sensitive footage, irrespective of whether the footage is blurred as per international media regulations or not, is incongruous for a moral society. The need for a regulatory system to ensure professionalism was reiterated by Dr. Ranga Kalansure during a visit to the Asgiri Mahaviharaya in Kandy yesterday.
There is no proper regulatory system. This has been the case for the past 26 years. There is a certain amount of regulation for print media because a press council exists where people can lodge complaints and where the ethics are safeguarded. But there is no such system for television and radio. But they use public property. They use frequencies that are given by the Regulatory Commission. We hope to circulate a first discussion paper regarding a regulatory system. This will be tabled as a bill. We hope to do this very soon. A copy will be presented to you as well, Venerable Thero. Please help take this forward. It is through the media that opinions are created and exercised. Therefore, they have a duty. We can achieve progress only if they understand it and act accordingly.
However, experts point out that doubts exist regarding such attempts made to regulate the broadcast media.
It is not easy to control how the media works. The social media network cannot be controlled in the same way that television, radio and newspaper companies are controlled. However, attempts were made recently to introduce certain regulations. We should engage in the use of responsible media by imposing our own restrictions regarding the media while ensuring media freedom.
The government of Sri Lanka has received a loan package of 46.2 billion rupees from the government of Japan. The loan package was granted for the government's efforts in creating financial stability and ongoing development activities.
Issuing a communique, the Ministry of Finance said that the loan was granted to build on the financial stability required to meet the government's goals in implementing the 5-year development plan. Moreover, a sum of 32.1 billion rupees has been granted to Sri Lanka by the Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA for the initiation of Phase 2 of the Anuradhapura North Water Supply Project. The project will be implemented as a solution to the prevalent chronic kidney disease in the North Central Province. The agreements were inked at the Ministry of Finance today. The signing of the loan agreement took place between the Deputy Secretary to the Treasury and the Japan Ambassador to Sri Lanka.
Former Minister of Economic Development Basit Rajapaksa and former IGP and diplomat Mahinda Balasuriya was summoned before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry today.
Former Minister Basil Rajapaksa was questioned for close to 2 hours at the Presidential Commission of Inquiry about a fraud which is alleged to have taken place at the Western Development Authority during the previous administration. This is about the money which was spent after it was given by Minister Pfizer during his time as Minister of Tourism to the Western Development Authority. However, I am not aware of it. Questions were also raised about the joint opposition and the formation of a new political party. Former IGP Mahinda Balasuriya was questioned with regard to providing security to a number of persons, including National Freedom Front spokesperson Mohammad Muzamil, incurring a cost of 500 million rupees to the state. Meanwhile, the Financial Crimes Investigations Division summoned MP Lohan Ratwatte for questioning. The MP was questioned about a sports complex which was built in Biagama under the Mahinda Rajapaksa Sports Foundation. The FCID can't keep doing this for opposition parties. If they want to take action, they should do so against the former governor of the central bank, Arjun Mahendran. But he is scot-free. However, my brother, who was involved in a similar incident, is now in jail. What is the meaning of this? Is this what they call good governance?
A communique issued by the media unit of the Speaker says that Speaker Karu Jayasuriya and political party leaders representing Parliament left for China last evening. The release says that the delegation is engaging in the tour upon a special invitation extended by the Chinese government with the aim of strengthening Sri Lanka-China parliamentary relations.
The communique reads that Speaker Karu Jayasuriya is being accompanied on the tour by opposition leader R. Sambandhan, Chief Government Whip, Minister Gayantha Karunatilaka representing the United National Party, and Minister Susil Premajayantha representing the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. It adds that JVP leader MP Anurukumara Dissanayaka, Sri Lanka Muslim Congress leader Minister Rauf Hakim, and leader of the EPDP Douglas Devananda are also part of the delegation which left for China. The media unit of the Speaker said that the tour has been entirely sponsored by the government of China. The release adds that the Chinese government had taken measures on previous occasions as well to arrange for such special observation tours for Sri Lankan MPs.
Sri Lanka is optimistic that it will receive the GSP Plus concession from the European Union in the first quarter of next year.
Yeah, there's a huge possibility. We've already worked on it, worked hard on it, and we have submitted an application. So by beginning of next year, they are hoping to receive the GSP Plus. They are awaiting good response from them. There are no conditions. It's just that we had to get few things right. So in the past, we have done certain mistakes. So we have discussions with them, and then it's mostly democracy, good governance, and that sort of thing, which is things which are good for us, not conditions per se.
Well, on that note, we wrap up this edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for stopping by. For the News1st team, I'm Joel Outscoon.
And I'm Bernadine Jazz Singh. Have a wonderful day. Good night. Take care.
Take care. Good night.